Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Cunningham, Chief Marketing Officer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this, our third and probably our final community call for both the calendar year and the financial year. As things ramp up into Q4, obviously we're going to let you get on with the job, but we are already thinking about our kickoff event for FY23, and we'll be coming back to you with ideas on that after the call and later in the quarter. We've got a very busy agenda today, so let's begin with a quick look through what we're going to cover. In a moment, I'm going to introduce our new joiners to the team internationally, and then we'll get into our main agenda. We're going to start with a discussion between myself and Runa McLeod about the topic of modernizing our brand. And clearly, it's important that we understand what is meant by that, because it has some very particular aspects and some particular value that we want to make sure that the community understands. One of the key words of the moment is hybrid, and we're going to be looking at two aspects of that in today's agenda. We're going to be joined by Ali Jewson, a new member of our team here, who's going to talk about the application of Venue to hybrid events in various forms and what that means for the community and its members. And then I'm really pleased to say we're going to be joined by Bart Scheffer from the Westcon Europe team, who's going to talk us through a newly launched campaign called Hybrid Heroes on behalf of Poly. And I think that's going to inspire you with ways of thinking about how to take this really important hybrid working story to our vendors and to our partners. We'll then move to a panel Q&A, which will be your opportunity to ask questions of the team through the comments box in your Venue interface. And hopefully we'll get some really interesting questions inspired by those topics today. And then we'll conclude, as usual, with our regional market star recognition for one of our highest achievers in the course of the last quarter, before we wrap up and let everyone get back to the day job. So let's move on to the welcome. This is probably one of the busiest new starter sections we've had in the community call for some time, and it's really encouraging to see the wealth of talent that's coming into the business. Alison Barnard is joining us in the APAC region, New Zealand, as a marketing operations specialist. She's a recent graduate. Gabrielle Kingston is a returnee to Westcon. Very pleased to welcome Gabrielle back. And she's joining us as F5 Marketing and Cloud Marketing Manager in the Australian area. Andrea Yip joins us again in APAC, in Singapore, in Westcon, with a focus on cybersecurity and infrastructure. Noel Lim also joining us in Singapore with a similar kind of focus. And very pleased to welcome Jason Lee, who's joined us from Tech Data in the region, and is going to be coordinating a whole range of cross-vendor activities, again, in those infrastructure and security areas. We don't often have a second slide. As I said, this shows the wealth of talent that's coming into the team. Bailey is joining us in Westcon China as a recently graduated marketing intern. Very pleased to welcome Niharika Pandey in the Networking and Unified Communications Collaboration team in Westcon EMEA as a vendor marketing campaign manager. Edward Harath joining us also in the same team in networking collaboration on social media and campaign management. Edward brings a huge wealth of experience with a lot of leading brands around social media. I'll be very interested to see how that starts to impact our activities in that area as well. Ali Jewson has joined Runa's team as a marketing program manager responsible for Venue and the Empower digital marketing training program. You'll be hearing more from Ali later on the hybrid events section. Charlie Alderson has joined us in the central marketing team in EMEA as a project manager. As I'm sure you'll be aware from your interactions with the team, there's a huge amount of program activity going on at the moment. So having Charlie working across that, providing the right kind of governance for those projects is important to us. Vin has joined us as the studio traffic coordinator. And if you have any engagement at all with the studio, you'll know already that he's doing a great job in helping us manage the huge range of projects that come to us very smoothly. Philip Hardcastle has also joined us as a graphic designer and is already having a big impact in terms of our creativity and design output. Katie Stoneham has joined the Comstore EMEA team as a software marketing manager. A huge push from Cisco at the moment around software. And so it's very important to see that we've got the right kind of talent attracting to that area. Marta Martinez again joins Comstore in Spain as services marketing manager. Again, big focus from Cisco and the Comstore team on services and their importance to the partner. So it's encouraging to see Marta join the team. Finally, So that's all the joiners. I was expecting more, but I think that's enough for now. We're going to move on to our first topic today, which is this idea of modernizing our brand. And it's very important to understand what we mean by this. It doesn't mean that we're going to start changing the logo or changing the fundamental design that underpins our communications. But it does have a lot to do with how we position the company and how we tell the story of Westcon Comstor and the sub-stories that support it at the regional, functional, and brand level as we go to market. So I'm going to ask Runa to join me for a brief conversation about this as we unpack what it means to modernize the brand. Hi, Runa.
Hi, Paul. Hello, everybody.
I'll start with a quick update on where we are today and why we think this is important. So I think, as everyone will understand from their regional perspective, our business is fundamentally very good. We've got a great pedigree, a really strong international footprint, fantastic vendor and channel partnerships. As you've just seen, we've got a huge amount of talent in the organization, and operationally, we're executing extremely well. And today, our brand credibility is built on all of those things and built on the experience that represents. And as again, I'm sure you're aware, working in your regions, we've got fantastic new plans and capabilities for both our vendors and our partners. But we do believe that the brand marketing that represents all of that needs some modernization. And as I said, the way that we think we're going to execute that is through our people and through their ability to tell the story about the value we create on behalf of our vendors and our channel partners. And we have a plan to progressively adopt and promote and advocate that through the business. And that's the thing I wanted to have Runa join me with today to talk through those particular points. So Runa, we're going to just have a quick chat, run through some questions, and perhaps you could help us unpack what this modernizing the brand means for the community and for the wider business. And the opening question is really just, how are we going to be evolving this concept of brand marketing?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, hello everybody. First of all, I just want to say I'm really pleased and excited to have the opportunity to talk about the topic of brand marketing. It's something very close to my heart, and I think we've been working in the background here on some really great stuff. So it's fantastic to be able to share that with you today. And as Paul said, it's probably just worth reiterating that we're not rebranding. This isn't about logo changes or anything fundamental like that. But really, this is about trying to better align the way we tell our story with the capabilities that we have in the business today and with the culture and the values that we have as a business, and to really make sure that comes across and is reflected in the marketing that we do around brand. And I think, we've seen things come to the fore, things become more important to our partners and people that we didn't really talk about in a kind of more traditional kind of way of talking about distribution, brand marketing. So there are three key areas that we've been looking at, and I'll just touch on those now. So the first one is around messaging. And this is really kind of seeing a shift from the concept of adding value as a distributor and moving to this idea of creating value in the channel. So for our partners, for our vendors, and for our own people, taking much more of a leadership role there. We've identified some core themes where we think we do this, and where we've got some really good stories to tell and to share out to the marketplace. So this idea of being able to show as well as tell is absolutely critical to the work we've been doing, and also looking at how we can really humanize our brand, take a more audience-centric approach, and really think about the outcomes that we're driving. The second thing we're looking at is around tone of voice. So not just what we say, but how we say it. And there's been a lot of work looking at the kind of personality that we have as a business, and how that is reflected in the tone that we adopt through our content. So there's been a lot of work from auditing our current materials, interviewing stakeholders in the business, and actually creating new guidelines, which we'll be sharing into the community next year. And the third piece, which we've been looking on, is really about visuals. So as we said, it's not about logo change, but this is about thinking about the photography and the imagery that we use through our brand marketing, and really making sure that reflects and showcases our own people in a modern and contemporary way, and has greater impact. So less stocky, more authentic, more relatable, and more impactful.
Great. Really, you talked there about the dimensions of the value creation that we offer on behalf of our vendors and our partners. So what are the key value creators that we're going to be focusing on and trying to establish in the minds of our partners?
Yeah. So we have identified 6 core themes, which around this sort of concept of value creation, which you can see there on the slide. And each of these themes, we've developed some messaging, some very customer-centric messaging. And I think the important piece on here is we are identifying stories and proof points that help us evidence how we create value in these areas. And I'm not going to read through all of these, but I just want to touch on a couple of these themes, because some of them may be more familiar to people, and some of them, frankly, are new things for us to talk about. So let's take trust as an example. This is all about how we create trusted partnerships with our partners and with our vendors. And there's a wealth of material really for us to unpack there in terms of our channel experience, and the things that we do in partnership with our partners to really help them grow their business. And so there's a lot of really interesting stories there. We take the theme of responsible business. That is something I think that is new for us to really market. And there are actually 3 pillars that sit underneath the theme of responsible business. So sustainability, the CSR education initiatives, and diversity and inclusion. And underneath, I think, all 3 of those pillars, we now have really compelling and robust business strategies, and we're also starting to make some real progress and impact in those areas. And what we want to do is be able to unlock those stories to really bring those strategies to life in a meaningful way. And then finally, the people piece. This is really interesting. We often talk about our people being the true value in the organization, and we've got some fantastic stories of how people in our business are really creating value in the marketplace. And so I'm excited to be able to share that as we start to kind of roll this out next year.
You've used the word story a lot in explaining that, and I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit and understand, why is storytelling so important in helping us establish this value in the marketplace?
Yeah, so I think it's a good question, and I use the term storytelling, but perhaps it's worth just sort of clarifying what we mean by storytelling, because we're not talking about make believe here. This isn't about heroes and villains and fairy tales. This is about, I think, thinking about some of the techniques which we see through storytelling and applying them to our marketing, our content, and our communications. And actually, by adopting some of those techniques, it allows us to think more about the customer or the audience. It forces us to think about purpose and about the outcomes that we're driving. And it enables us to communicate, I think, in a more relatable way, where we can really connect with our audiences. So we're kind of exploring this and how we can use this within marketing. And it's been very well received so far, and I think is going to bring a new dimension to how we approach brand marketing and really help us with that goal of humanizing our brand.
Once we have those stories defined and they start to emerge, what do we do to make them stick? Because it's very important that if we define what those values are, having them both understood immediately, but also in the longer term with our own people and our partners is important. So how do we make them stick?
Yeah. Yes, so I think in order to kind of really help embed the work that we're doing here and to scale it, frankly, because there are stories across the business in different regions, in different business units, and we want to make sure we can share, I guess, the breadth and the depth of value that exists within our organisation. And so to help us do that, we've established a new programme called Envoy, which is focused on 3 things. So brand enablement, brand storytelling, and brand advocacy. And we have an initial cohort of marketing leads, some of which may be on the call right now. And rather than hear from me, I've got a short video which I'd like to play so we can hear from them in terms of why they're excited about this programme.
Great.
Evelyn, I'm based in France. I'm excited to be part of the Envoy program because I think that a powerful brand that reflects who we are and what we do gives us a consistent customer experience, but also allows us to come together as one team.
Hi, I'm Rochelle. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm really enjoying being part of the Envoy program, being an advocate for Westcon Comstore, promoting our brand internally and externally, and finding our voice.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire and I'm based in Johannesburg in South Africa. And I'm super excited to be part of the Envoy program because I get to collect all of the brilliant stories from around our business and bring them to life in a way that highlights the value of our brand.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucia and I live in the United Kingdom. I'm really excited to be part of the Envoy program because it's focused around delivering a more relatable and personable brand experience for our Westcon Comstore family and for all of our partners and customers around the world.
Hi everyone, I'm Bart, based in Hout in the Netherlands, and I'm really excited to be part of the Envoy program to really tell and differentiate our Westcon Comstore story in the countries we operate.
Hi, I'm Maria Bretti and I'm based in Wiltshire in the UK. And I'm really excited to be part of the Envoy programme. I truly believe that a strong brand is a great differentiator for any company. And in order for us to have a strong and recognisable brand, we all need to be singing from the same hymn sheet. So I'm really excited about some of the brand enablement tasks that we're going to be involved in.
Hi, my name's Becky and I'm from Berkshire in the UK. I'm an Envoy because I think it's really important to communicate complex topics like those that we deal with at Westcon Comstore in a simple and concise way. So I'm really excited for the tone of voice work that we'll be doing in the brand project.
Great.
So
it's really exciting to see the enthusiasm, the range of people involved in it, and as we know, we'll be hearing from one or two of them in the course of today as well.
Absolutely.
On top of Envoy, Runa, what more can the marketing community and the wider business expect to see from this initiative in FY23?
Yeah, so there's a number of things that we're going to be delivering next year. So let me just touch on a few of those here. So from a brand enablement perspective, we have a curriculum around brand, which we'll be delivering through our Empower program. So this will cover things like the messaging we've spoken about today, all of the tone of voice work we've done and how that applies to different types of content, so web, email, social. It will look at storytelling techniques and also cover things like our visual identity and the changes that we may see coming through there. So pretty comprehensive training and enablement that we'll be sharing out to the community next year. The second piece there is this advocacy program. And obviously anybody can be a brand advocate, but we're looking specifically around facilitating this through a social advocacy program. And this will enable members of the marketing community to share Westcon content, created content that pertains to our brand and our partners, but also our own content and stories that have been created from within the business. Guidelines, I've mentioned, so in addition to the kind of standard brand guidelines being updated, we've also got a raft of sort of materials that will help people with things like tone of voice and explain what we mean by that and how to adopt the new tone of voice. And then all of this will be coming to life in a new campaign, which is going to kick off our new fiscal year in March. And this is really about kind of unpacking that value creation and the themes that we touched on a little bit earlier on. And then the final piece there is really how we're kind of, I guess, reimagining our corporate presentation. So we've done some work with the business to understand what they need and use today and what they would like in the future. And actually what we will be providing is a more modular toolkit to help people talk about the brand and some of those stories and the kind of messaging, but in a flexible and kind of modular way. And again, that will be shared in the next fiscal. So there's a lot to look forward to there.
Great, thanks, Runa. Well, I hope everyone can see that there's a huge amount of thinking that's gone into this, and already it's generating great interest and support around the community. And we'll talk more later on about how you might get involved in this as well. So, Runa, thanks for that. I'm going to hand it back to you, and you can launch into the hybrid area.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Runa.
Okay. So we're moving on to the next section now, which, as Paul mentioned earlier, is really around hybrid. And there are two ways that we are going to explore this today. So first of all, I'm really delighted to invite Ali to the community and to this event. She joined us in the middle of October and has been doing some great work exploring how we're going to develop our venue capabilities, and specifically around the kind of different options we have with hybrid events. So Ali, if I can invite you onto the stage.
Hi. Good morning.
Thanks, Ali.
So, hi everyone. Thank you, Runa, for your introduction. Paul has also already introduced me. However, there were a lot of new joiners. So I'm the new marketing program manager in Runa's team, and I'll be running Venue and Empower and bringing these programs back to you with a bang. So I'm going to use the time today to discuss virtual and hybrid events. I'll start with the evolution of Venue to date, then go on to the what and the why of hybrid events, featuring a poll, and then closing with the next steps for next year. So in the last year or so, virtual events have gone from strength to strength. We and others are seeing bigger audiences, higher levels of attendance, and the highest levels of audience interaction. And since we launched Venue at Westcon Comstore, we have hosted 90 events with over 45,000 event views, both live and on demand. Our biggest event to date, Imagine Middle East, had over 3,000 views, both live and on demand. The satisfaction rating for our events has remained high, with a score of 4.8 out of 5 on average. So these are great statistics and really demonstrate how successful our virtual event offering has been so far. But with more and more live events coming from our competitors and just across the board everywhere, we've had to remain competitive and continuously develop our virtual offering and the different ways to engage your audiences, such as photo booths, word clouds, our gamification, breakout rooms, and our presenting capabilities. So we're working closely with the Venue team and our studio team to create new and improved creatives, making each event look better than the last. But what have we learned from this? We've learned we can't stand still. We need to keep things interesting and engaging, as people easily get bored. Preparation is key. Effective planning is critical. It's important to invest time pre and post event. But we have come a long way. But now we want to take our events to the next level and stay ahead of the game. And our aim is to always offer the first class digital experience for our people and partners. And so one way we're doing this is by looking at hybrid events. So with more and more live events looming on the horizon, marketers are spending a lot of time talking about a hybrid approach. But what is a hybrid event? So in its most basic form, I believe we're on the wrong slide at the moment, so we're just going to go back a slide. But in its most basic form, a hybrid event is a blend of a live in-person event with some virtual online components. And hybrid events are all the rage at the moment. If you Google it, millions of things will come up for you. According to Markletic's 2021 Global Hybrid Event Survey, 25% of respondents globally state they will host between 5 to 10 hybrid events per year. And 34% of event organisers expect to invest more in hybrid events over the next few years. However, according to a Qualtrics survey of 11,000 individuals, marketing professionals globally, 59% of respondents would prefer to attend virtually at the moment. So although what the data is telling us varies, the general consensus appears to be live events will return, but with a larger focus on a virtual audience as well. The number of webinars, just virtual events, grew by 162% last year, with attendance up by 251% globally. So I think with this data, it is safe to say that virtual events are definitely here to stay. Not only that, but it is a very cost-effective way to reach a really large and geographically dispersed audience effectively. So whilst we have venue and a comprehensive virtual offering, there are calls to get back to some semblance of the new normal when it comes to events. So with offices and day-to-day lives opening up again, it makes sense to explore the options of bringing people back together, but with the option of still being able to attend virtually. However, it's important with any sort of event to always consider the event goals, the budget, time frame, and whether it needs to be in person. With COVID guidance varying from region to region on almost a weekly basis, we had changes last night in the UK, it's also important to consider the investment of both time and money if an event needs to be cancelled or moved virtually at short notice. So that aside, in order to better support you moving forward, we've investigated these different flavours of hybrid. So first up is hybrid present. So this is where presenters are together in one location presenting to a fully virtual audience. So having the presenters together will make the viewers feel more like an active participant rather than just a spectator. So to put this into perspective, think about a TV chat show environment where speakers are not just presenting, but conversing together. So Oprah or the news, or Graham Norton if you prefer. You can have a light or full production setup with a green screen or even a stage. And you can still utilize Venue as the event streaming platform with the same audience interactions and engagement, just with presenters in one location, be it a studio with full audio and visual equipment, or for a lighter version, a room in your local office with a camera and green screen. So this option is seen as more robust and likely, especially with the current COVID guidance. Next up is hybrid hubs. So this is where audience group together at different sites connected to one virtual event. This style event is ideal if you want a hybrid event where there is some networking, but still separate from the speakers. Attendees need to be able to engage with each other in person within their smaller groups for this flavour. So imagine an internal all hands where offices have people in them connecting to a virtual event, regionally or even globally. For a more complex solution, speakers can be from different locations, such as office locations globally or remote watch parties. But with this option, special attention will need to be paid for networking in individual hubs and those who will inevitably be attending virtually. And then finally, your big ticket annual event, Hybrid Live. So where you have a mixture of on-site and virtual audience. People who are currently running these type of events are doing so at a huge scale, from 2,000 to 5,000 attendees, both live and virtually. They take longer to plan with additional costs such as audiovisual requirements, more than you would need for hybrid present or hybrid hubs combined. You need to think about venue hire, health and safety obligations, and so on. In an ideal world, the virtual audience will also have the same engagement opportunities as the physical event, so gamification available both in person and virtual. This type of event can still be streamed via Venue. We don't see this type of event taking place in the near future as it's more complex, greater planning is needed, and it's difficult to predict the cost. But remember to question, does it make sense with your objectives, your audience, your budget, your planning cycles to run this type of event? So now that I've shared our flavors, I'd like to do a poll with you. So you will see this come up now. What type of events do you think you will be hosting or would you like to host in 2022? Are you going to stay virtual or dabble in hybrid present, experiment with hybrid hubs, go all out with hybrid live, or are you just done with live events and you just want in-person, in one place audiences? So you can select more than one and have a little look. So whilst you answer, I'll give you a little bit more time. I'd like to share some more insights into events with you. So going back to Markletic's 2021 Global Hybrid Event Survey, 57% of respondents say they would rather attend an in-person version of a hybrid event than a virtual version. And according to Cvent, a popular event streaming platform, 76% of attendees of virtual events go back to access event content after the event has ended. I think it's safe to say that virtual events are still such a popular option for both global reach and cost efficiency, and that ability to digest the information later on or in your own time. So now we can see that there's been some good answers here. So let's have a look at these poll results. So I can see that Hybrid Present is the most popular option, which is a no-brainer. 24% for Hybrid Live, which is very interesting. I'd be interested to know what sort of event you'd be looking to running as a Hybrid Live event next year. Hybrid Hubs is obviously a popular option, but a fully just in-person event is also right up there above virtual. So that's quite surprising. Virtual events have been a great success for us, but it's interesting to see that you're all calling out, screaming out for hybrid or in-person interactions, which is fantastic. That's great to see. So, it's changing again. I think Hybrid Present would be the most robust option. I think you've then got the option of you've got less, if there's any sort of COVID variations, there's less chance of two people transmitting it to each other in person or more. So I'm nearly out of time. So we will share these poll results with you after the event. But I just wanted to discuss the next steps for this program. So we'll be coming back to you in the new year with the next phase of Empower training on hybrid events. We want to continue Venue and the program that supports it, and regularly communicate to you every quarter with the new features, share best practices, and share your successes. Next year, we'll also bring more comprehensive event reporting, which has been a big pain point for some of you or most of you hosting events. A lot of people in the business are comfortable with running virtual events, but if you're not, it's not too late to learn, and we are here and happy to help you learn and progress to your next event. So please get in touch with me directly if you want any support at all. But thank you for your time, everyone. If you have any questions, please submit them and we'll endeavour to answer them at the end. So over to you, Runa.
Thanks, Ali. That's great update there, and looking forward to explore those options around hybrid in the new year. And as Ali said, if anybody have got any event requirements or you want to find out more, then I know that Ali will be more than happy to talk to you on a one-to-one basis. So thanks, Ali. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic underneath hybrid, and talking about a campaign that has recently launched in EMEA with Polly. Now, I know that in APAC we don't have a commercial relationship with Polly, but I still think it's very interesting for you to hear from Bart today around the concept and the approach that he's developed with this campaign, and hopefully you'll find it interesting and inspiring. And again, if you want to find out anything more after the call, then please do get in touch with Bart directly. So Bart, can I welcome you on stage, and let's get
Hi,
going.
Runa.
Okay. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Good to have you here.
Welcome.
I know you are really excited about this campaign and have been working on it for a little while now, and really excited to get it launched. Could you sort of share with us what makes this Hybrid Heroes campaign so special for you?
Yes, for sure. Well, I think it's important to mention that this was originally a vendor-driven campaign. So Polly handed over a campaign to us. But yeah, it was not really inspiring because they simply had, some Polly products involved that are suitable for hybrid working, placed an ugly logo on top of it. And to be honest, the easiest thing for me would be to simply replicate that campaign, send it out to all the countries, attach a Westcon logo to it, and yeah, job done. But I think, also what you presented today about our brand, our story, I immediately had the feeling that we could do something more with this campaign. So what we actually have done is taken the campaign that Polly provided us, reimagined it, put our own Westcon branding and styling over it. But moreover, we're really using this team as some kind of central mechanism to create the product awareness. And also specifically for the stock on those products that we have available. As you can imagine, we're having like a global Chipageddon, where there are some products that are harder to get hold of. And actually some of the products really involved in this program we do have on stock in our local distribution center. And it helps us really to promote all these products in the different regions that we're active.
Great. So an interesting concept there in terms of how we've kind of developed the campaign, and we'll dig into that a little bit more over the next few minutes. But before we have a look at that, could you just kind of explain both the kind of campaign goals at the kind of strategic level, and then maybe talk a little bit about the tactics that you're adopting through this campaign?
Yes, of course. So I think looking, from the objectives. So first of all, it was really important to drive the new partner onboarding. So there are lots of products involved in this campaign, which are like the headsets, cameras, speakerphones, all those kind of things. So it was really important for us to use this also as an enabler for new partners to onboard, because we have lots of partners in the portfolio that might not offer these products, and it gives them an interesting way to get introduced to this wide range of products. But also it's about creating that awareness around hybrid working solutions from Poly, and maybe some of you are already known to Poly, but they come from a really more corporate background, so they were not really known for their products around hybrid working. So it really enables us to also take that basically market share and promote it. But I think it's also important that you need to set a target somewhere. So what we really did is set a target for the products involved, where we simply looked at what kind of revenue are we expecting in the next couple of months, and really put that in as a campaign objective for this campaign. Then when we're looking specifically at some of the more tactics that we have been using, so obviously we have been creating like a central web page, which you will see on the next slide, some emails to partners that we created, social materials, but also quite interesting fact that we have really launched with this campaign is, although everyone is working hybrid, created physical element in this campaign, which is like a Brixie. I think most people will say it's like a Lego lookalike. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. But for obvious reasons, we can't use the branding of Lego in this. But what we really did is, creating those hybrid products into some physical Brixie products that partners actually get awarded when they buy one of the eligible products. So instead of just creating only that experience and online awareness, we also decided to take it in a more physical way and really award physical products to our partners.
Great. Fantastic, Bart. So lots going on there. I want to just take you back to a comment you made about sort of Poly being better known in kind of high-end sort of corporate environment, really office-based meeting rooms, and not necessarily a vendor that we'd associate with hybrid. So could you sort of talk to us a little bit about how the products that Poly sells are actually helping with hybrid working?
Yes, so as I mentioned before, Poly is really known for their more enterprise boardroom implementations, and not so well known for their hybrid working products. So for them it's really important to showcase that in the markets. And what these products in the end, really do is, being heard properly, clear visibility in meetings. And I think also the statistics are showing that working from home is being more accepted, and that for what you need the equipment that can help really working both at home and in the office. And if you just look at some of the benefits, working from home is spending less time commuting, having a better work-life balance, feeling less stress, spending less money on commuting, but also having more personal time. But I think it's also, if we're looking, at these key statistics around hybrid working, and this came actually from a quite recent report that Polly has published in October this year. So as you can see, that 69% of the office workers say that 9 to 5 has been replaced by anytime working. So it's not logging in at 9 o'clock, working till 5, your job done. Imagine me. I'm based in the Netherlands. It's 7:42 in the morning for me, so it was an early start. That's, I think, something that's happening right now and across all the regions that we're active in. But also 42% will be prone to what they call like a noise rage if colleagues are too loud. So yeah, it's also not getting disturbed and working more at ease and without any conflict of noise that might influence your work. And last but not least, 64% has indicated that the pandemic really caused office culture to change. So I think that this hybrid working is definitely here to stay, and it also gives us the momentum to really use this campaign also over a longer time. So not only for 1 quarter, 2 quarters, but as new products get introduced, really revamp that into this campaign. Add new visuals to it, new stories to be told. So yeah, quite exciting.
And in terms of,
oh yeah, I was about to mention, don't just take our words for it, because I created a little video where we can see how our colleagues within the business are using Polly every day.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Bart.
Yeah, quite excited, and I think this also fits into what you explained before in this call. About our brand, our story, and not saying that this is like the perfect example, but we're telling a story here that it's not only a product, but it's actually being used by our own employees, and the next step will also be to amplify this with our partners. So really. You can see that I get excited about these.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great because I know that the people, a lot of the people who featured in that video have already started sharing that through social and out to the marketplace. They genuinely do really believe what they said there. So that's great. 100%. So we're excited about this. We think this is a great campaign. But you said that we'd kind of taken a Polly campaign and then completely changed it. So how did Polly feel about that?
Well, they really liked it, and obviously, it has been shared quite a lot by the different countries in EMEA as well. I can't wait to get Polly launched in APAC as well, and working together with our great APAC team. But I've asked them to provide us with some statement on how they felt that this campaign has been launched from the Westcon side. So let's hear it from Polly.
Hi everybody, my name is Ole Helfrits and I'm head of EMEA channel marketing here at Polly. This quarter we set out with one distinct distributor campaign being Hybrid Heroes, And what I've loved seeing is all the different variations that come back. But one stand out, and that's definitely Westcon EMEA's campaign. The beautiful thing about setting a theme is everybody can take it and do with it as they please. And nobody's done that better than Bart from Westcon EMEA. What I've seen here is a complete new way of addressing the few key assets that we gave, completely new logo, a completely new design, but also adding the bricks to it as well. And more than that, it's not just pretty pictures. There's a full business plan behind it, because everything we do at Poly has to lead to an increased return on investment. So absolutely love this campaign. And even internally at our different theaters, so both APAC and AMER, they absolutely love this campaign. It's being shared as one of the best practices. So well done, everybody at Westcon. Keep it up.
Great. Thanks so much, Bart. Great to see happy vendor there. It's really good. Thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Bart. And I think everyone on the call can see that, not just taking the raw material, if you like, from the vendor and just replaying their messaging out to the market, but actually applying some of our own creativity and thinking and value to the way that we do that is going to pay huge dividends. I know it's early days, Bart, but I'm absolutely sure that campaign is going to be really, really effective. So thanks. We're going to start with our panel Q&A now, which is your opportunity to ask questions of today's speakers and panelists. If I can ask Ali to rejoin us as well. We've got some questions coming into the chat box, which I'll happily facilitate and direct to our participants. The first question we've got is, are we doing anything to promote our own company approach to hybrid working? And obviously what Bart and Rune just showed us is a really good example of that. It has that nice effect of being a kind of double-edged campaign, in that we can talk about our own experiences whilst promoting the capabilities of Poly as a vendor. But Rune, perhaps I could come to you and think about some of the story stuff we're planning, and how we see hybrid really evolving, both as a general story to the market, but how we want our own people to feature in that as well.
Yeah, so I think there's probably a lot actually to say around how we're promoting this, and similar to Bart, I know that different teams within the business are also looking at hybrid campaigns. I know Seamus, is recently launched and working on an SMB hybrid activity. And maybe I can talk a little bit from what we're doing in central marketing, and I think there's a couple of ways there. First of all, through our PR and media activity, I think the narrative is really focused on hybrid. David Grant has recently done some briefings to the media, and hybrid certainly featured in those conversations. And also some of the content that we've seen coming out from our leadership team through our news and blog site. Again, hybrid is up there, and that's drawing on our own experiences and our own approach. And actually, we've just started to, and we'll be kind of sharing more around a hybrid campaign, creating additional content from the central marketing team and sharing that out. And that's probably something we're going to see from this month onwards and moving into the new year. And that, again, is really trying to think about what does hybrid mean in the world of Westcon Comstore? How are we approaching it? And there's obviously many facets to that. It's a big umbrella kind of a topic, I think, hybrid, and there's lots of different ways that we can unpack that.
Yeah. And Bart, obviously, I know you're an incredibly enthusiastic champion for not just the vendors that you represent, but also just this way of working as well. So apart from the Poly campaign, anything else up your sleeve or planned that is relevant to this hybrid working idea? What are you seeing from other vendors, for example?
Yeah, I think hybrid working is really a team, and as you can see, this is also this is also hybrid working, in the morning. Which,
great timing.
Not being here.
Can I just stress that wasn't planned at all?
No, this is not staged. But a great noise cancellation as well. But no, what we're seeing, hybrid working, as I mentioned, is here to stay. And this was just one team around it with some products. But when we're looking, for instance, at our security side of the business, hybrid working also involves a security element. So what I see from the security vendors, that there are also initiatives. How can you secure that remote worker? Through the likes of Palo, F5, or Microsoft technology. And I think for us, that's a really important space to add value as well.
Yeah.
Combining solutions together, not treating vendors as separate silos, but offering that solution to our partners. So I think that's something how we can differentiate also in the market.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I did just notice, I think it was earlier this week or late last week, in the latest earnings announcement from Zscaler, one of our recently signed vendors. They actually pointed out that the securing of video and collaboration endpoints had been a big contributor to their revenue growth. So your point about looking at this in an all-round way and thinking about the whole vendor portfolio when we try and build out solutions for this hybrid working world, I think it's a really, really important point.
Yeah.
Thanks. I've got a couple of questions around brand marketing, which I'll address to you, Rune, if that's okay. The first is a fairly simple question of, when will more of this brand marketing training be available?
Yeah, so we're going to start kicking off the curriculum through Empower from February onwards. We've got probably about 6 months worth of content planned now to take us through next year. That's going to be a combination of e-learning and some more interactive sessions. And as I mentioned earlier on, thinking about those different themes and topics within kind of brand marketing. And so we'll be kicking that off from February onwards. And Ali's going to be, it's got a whole communication plan around what that looks like. So watch out for that.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is a bit more open-ended. Is what should I do if I have a story that helps support the brand marketing initiative, particularly along the lines of the 6 kind of pillars of storytelling that you elaborated on earlier?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, actually, and I think it's something that we've been thinking about. So I guess there's 2 things here. One is we're going to have a bit more of a formal process where people can kind of submit stories, and we're going to use Ripe for that, so we can track that through and keep on top of those stories. The second one is just talk to us, because maybe you're not sure if this is a story or not. Is this experience warrant us creating content out of it? And I just encourage you to get in touch, really. So with myself or with Claire Milroy, who's in our central marketing content team and has been doing a lot of work around the brand content. And we'd be really happy to have a discussion around any kind of particular story or experience that you think may be relevant.
Great, thank you. And finally, we've got a question around hybrid events, Ali. So the question that's coming is, how should we budget for that range of hybrid events with our vendors? And my short answer to that is just budget plenty, right? I mean, it's just the obvious thing to say. But do you want to just talk through maybe the 3 options and the different budgetary considerations when we think about the options in front of us?
Absolutely. So with hybrid present, so this is where you've got presenters in one location. You can have the full studio set up where you go into a studio and you have to account for those sorts of costs. The cost for using Venue for any of these flavors does not change to what you're already used to. However, there are additional costs that are unavoidable. But with hybrid present, you can also have a green screen in your own office or in one of the main offices, and you'll be accounting for those costs for hire, for AV requirements as well. With hybrid hubs, again, it'll be a little bit more expensive, but you're still accounting for the same sort of cost with regards to AV, audiovisual requirements, health and safety requirements if you're having a lot of people back in an office or in one location. And with hybrid live, the sky's the limit. I think you need to budget plenty. You need to account for venue hire, health and safety, multiple audio and visual requirements. So I think we're in the process of pulling together some indicative pricing that we will share with you early next year. But for the different flavors of hybrid, but you need to bear in mind these will vary from region to region, and you will have to do some desk research to get some idea of what those prices are in your region.
Yeah. I think the thing to note is that beyond just the budgetary considerations, hybrid events, much as we learned with moving just to virtual events in the last year and a half or so, virtual requires a lot of planning and thinking in advance. You can't just rock up and expect to pull off a really good event, and hybrid more so, right? It's going to require additional planning and consideration because there are just more variables in terms of, managing the resources, managing the production capabilities, and making sure that you get the best possible outcome. But I think our experience with virtual events in the last year and a half has been really, really positive. I don't think it's going to, reduce in any sense. I think, this a very unpredictable situation still with the COVID and flare-ups here and there. So I think on the evidence of both what's happening externally with the COVID situation, but also just the value that virtual events have delivered to us in terms of, as you said, geographic reach, the ability to drop expert or authoritative or senior speakers in without incurring all the additional cost of the things that comes with, have been really, really positive experiences. We do have a couple more questions I've got in mind, and we're jumping back a little bit to the brand question here. One of the questions that's on my mind is how can people become an envoy? I know that we've got some particular staging posts on the way to that, but how can people, having seen the video, having seen the enthusiasm that the existing or the initial envoys are demonstrating, what if they want to become an envoy and part of the program?
Yeah, so again, another good question, and obviously we want to encourage as many people as possible to engage with the brand and really become kind of brand champions and advocates. So I think in the first instance, I would say engage with some of the deliverables I've spoken about today. So watch out for the training. That's going to really help you understand what we're doing with brand marketing, and how you can kind of get involved and participate. Things like the social media advocacy program, we're going to be piloting that in the first instance, and then we'll be looking to roll that out. And I think it's important that we work with people who actively want to engage. And so I think as you start to see some of these things being communicated next year, if you want to get involved, again, just talk to us, let us know. We'll be looking to develop and extend the program, and obviously we'll be communicating around that. So I think just get involved, get engaged, and give us your feedback, and there'll definitely be opportunity next year.
Great. And as well as being in the program, I mean, being in it is one thing, but having the confidence to develop and tell those stories is another. So if I come into the program, how can, as a participant, how can I develop my storytelling skills?
Yeah, so that's going back to that training. So storytelling is one of the things that we'll be exploring through the Empower training. And actually, this comes down to practice a lot of the time. So we can talk to you about, some of the theory and some techniques and some tools to help you. But actually it comes down to practice. So that's the other thing that we'll be looking to doing, is trying to create the environment where people who are interested can actually practice creating content and communications that adopt some of these storytelling techniques, and through our marketing community and through the Envoy program, give them the ability to practice and get support from the team to help them kind of hone and refine those skills. Great, thank you. We've got one final question, which I think I'm probably going to start addressing myself, but I might ask Rune or others to comment on this. One of the questions is about the choice of the value creator pillars in the brand marketing effort. And if I can just offer my own comment on that first, what's behind the choice of those value creator elements? Obviously, we've thought a lot about this. We haven't just pulled them out of thin air. And some of this harks back to some partner research we did in the area of our digital platform planning well over a year ago from today. Which we went and asked partners about their ideas, their sentiments, their behaviour around their engagement with Westcon Comstore and what they were relying on as partners. Obviously, we keep a constant watch on what vendors are telling us through the Vendor Executive Advisory Council, and also through our Cisco relationship with Comstore. And we also take a lot of feed in from the analyst community. So we're talking to the likes of IDC, Gartner, Forrester,
about what they believe is important in the future of the channel and the way in which both vendors and partners are developing their businesses. So if you listen to all of that, of course, it could be quite a long list of things that you're trying to address. But we felt that those 6 that Runa talked about earlier, people, trust, digital, as examples, were all things that we felt, based on those inputs from the various places, would resonate with our partners. And obviously, we'll continue to evaluate that. We'll continue to test the performance of those campaign elements as we take them forward. But as I said, they weren't just based on history. They weren't just pulled out of thin air. A great deal of thought and evaluation went into the choice of those elements of our storytelling around value creation as part of that campaign. I mean, Runa, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just kind of reinforce what you said. I think, they were very carefully considered. I think perhaps another thing to say is that, it's not just where we have aspirations. We actually feel that there are some really compelling examples of how we're actually delivering in these areas as well. So they're important to us, they're important to our partners, and we can actually, we can demonstrate that effectively. So yeah, no, nothing more really to say than that, Paul.
Great, thank you. Well, we've got a couple more questions that come in, but I think we've actually addressed them already through our venue conversation and the brand marketing conversation. So we'll leave it there in terms of Q&A. Thanks everyone for their contributions, and we'll now move on to our awards and closing remarks. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I think before we get into the Market Star Award, we've got the game winner. As always, we have a game available in the entry lobby for venue for marketing community, and I think this is a regular winner of this game, so it must be pretty good with fast fingers and thinking. The winner of today's game is Malandi. So congratulations. No prize, but plenty of bragging rights in the marketing community, and we look forward to seeing you next time, and no doubt winning again, because I think you've been a regular winner of the game as they come in. So thanks for that. Let's move on to the Market Star Award in region for this quarter. It's people will obviously recognize that our business moves very quickly. There's a huge amount of moving parts. It's very dynamic. So when we see people coming into the business, it's very important that they can make a fast start and have a very significant impact as quickly as possible. So I think you'll find that the Market Star Award for APAC for this quarter is a very good illustration of that point. So let's move on to see who's won the Regional Market Star Award for APAC for Q3. Jason, already after only fairly recently joining us, we had fantastic feedback and evidence from the rest of his wider regional team of his immediate impact on the organization. So Jason, congratulations. The prize will be making its way to you very shortly. Great to have you on the team, and really, really pleasing to see that you're already having a significant impact. So we're nearly at the end of our call. I just wanted to say on behalf of the central marketing team and the wider business and the executive team, thanks to everybody in region for your efforts in the last quarter and prior to that. You'll know from your own experience and your own feedback from the local management team that it's been a very strong performance. We've done extremely well. But I really want people now to, when they get the opportunity, to go and spend time doing what they love to do with their families, with their friends, taking time out to recharge and relax, enjoy the holiday season, whatever it means to you locally, and come back after the break ready to go again and bring all of that amazing creativity and impact to the support we provide for the business. So happy holidays. Thank you for joining the call today. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your questions as well. Thanks to all of our participants and speakers. And just one final reminder, you will be emailed a survey for your feedback after the call, and we really appreciate you filling it in and giving us the feedback, because it helps us to plan future calls and make them aligned with your needs and as effective as possible. So with that, enjoy the holiday break when it comes to you. We look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thanks again.